What's up, YouTube? It's your buddy Blank Frank back in again with another video. Today we're gonna be talking about this neighbor sues his own neighbor. Alright, so this all started by this man who really has nothing to do with the beef between these two neighbors, but he's their neighbor as well. Well, one of them. This neighbor, I'm not gonna call him a neighbor, but this man, he is just chilling inside of his house, and one day he hears like two people. Not he didn't know it's two people at first, but like he hears some people arguing outside of his house. And he realizes that his neighbor from across the street is arguing with some other person outside of the car. Now, usually there's no like commotion or arguments going on in his neighborhood because it's basically quiet and there's not really any cars driving around that much in his neighborhood. So he just basically kind of confused on what's going on. So he looks outside of his window to see what's going on. And the last second that he sees that what's going on between them two is that the person inside of the car is he's driving off a little bit, and as he's driving off, he opens the window, lets the window down, and he throws a water balloon at the man outside of at the man that's outside, and throws it at him. Turns out it's not filled with water, it's filled with pee. So he basically threw a pee balloon at the man outside, and he drives off. And the man just freaking out, like, why did you do that and stuff like that, and basically just freaking out. So the man that basically gonna kind of witness that, kind of watch that, goes outside and asks his neighbor from across the street that just got hit with a pee balloon what's going on, why that man do that, and he's stuff like that. He's saying how him and that man that just drove off have beef, and how that's his former neighbor, his former neighbor, which is the man that used to live at the house that's behind his house. That he lives at like the house behind his. So he said that both of them had beef. So he ends up going inside and takes a shower, takes a 5-minute shower, comes back and ends up telling that the man basically witnessed it, watched it, telling him the story of how that man and him have beef together. So he's telling him how, starts telling him, man who asked, how how it all started, basically. I don't know why I said that, but still. So there's one day, both of them, this man and the former neighbor, the man who drove off in the car, who threw a pea balloon at him, had both of them were loved to grill. They both loved to cook food on the grill and stuff like that. So one day, both of them were grilling at the same time. They were just basically talking and stuff like that, and they basically did it like most of the week. As that continued on, and they got to know each other even more and stuff like that, the man who used to live back behind the man's house ends up just hating on him. Like, he ends up just having beef with him for no reason. He ends up just starting like having beef by like going over to his house, bringing his food that he grilled over, and asking his neighbor's wife what, like, if his food's better than his food or something like that. He's basically trying to make it seem like it's a competition or something. He just made it the competition for no reason. Then he starts telling the neighborhood how this man's cooking is bad and stuff like that, and it's not really bad. He started just basically trying to like make him look like a bad cooker, but he's not a bad cooker. All this goes on, and eventually one day, as they're both cooking on the grill again in their backyards, the man who's basically getting getting having beef with is basically the neighbor across the street. He ends up basically asking him, his neighbor behind his house, asking him what's going on, why you basically trying to make me seem like a bad cooker. He's just trying to see what's going on. Why he's saying bad stuff out of nowhere. And so the neighbor, ends up telling him that his cooking sucks, and he ends up following up with that by splashing a water hose over to his grill on the other side of the wall. So there's like a wall there between both the backyards. So he ends up splashing water hose. He ends up splashing the water out of water hose towards on to his grill where he's cooking food because both of them cooking food. So the man gets mad. He's like, "Why did you do that?" and stuff like that. I was cooking. So instead of just letting it just play out, not let it play out, just being okay with it, he ends up getting mad, fires back by doing the same thing that his neighbor did by splashing water on his grill with the water hose. So both of them are just doing that, and then both of them are getting mad to the point where they start getting into an argument. So both of their wives start to come out and try to calm them down, but it got to the point where they really want to like hate each other and want to fight each other. So one of the neighbors ends up going to the neighbor's house and basically bangs on the door, waits till he comes out and wants to basically fight. He want neither get to the point where they want to fight. They also do that, including now they're getting to the point where they want to fight each other. Now they're egging each other's houses. Now they're TPing each other's houses, throwing toilet paper and all that stuff over each other's houses. They're basically doing just doing bad stuff to each other, basically hating on each other, beefing with each other. And after that, it gets so worse that the neighbor that lives behind the man's house ends up whatchamacallit. He ends up pouring like some type of acid or something. Like he doesn't do that, my bad. He ends up poisoning the man's plants. Now the man's plants weren't like any other regular plants like roses or something like that. His plants are expensive. His plants are like worth all of his plants are like worth $20,000. So he ends up poisoning his plants and leaves a note that good luck with that. Or so that's what it said. The note said good luck with that. So after he poisons his leaves, his plants basically, the man ends up wanting to he ends up calling the cops. He gets the cops involved and tries to basically sue him. He gets the cops to try to arrest him for his poisoning his plants, but the cops couldn't arrest him because they couldn't didn't have no evidence of the man of the neighbor basically poisoning the plants. So after that, since that didn't work, he ends up bringing it to civil court, and yeah, he ends up bringing it to civil court, and he then that's when he wants to sue the neighbor that lives behind his house for destroying his tree because his tree also got destroyed. So since he wants to sue his neighbor that lives behind his house, the neighbor ends up moving. So now, now that I told you all of that, remember how I said in the first couple minutes of the video, the neighbor. So basically, what I'm saying is the neighbor, since the neighbor sued him, wanted to sue him, which basically made the neighbor be forced out of his house. He ends up coming back to the man's house for revenge for trying to sue him, and by doing that, he ends up throwing a water balloon filled with pee. So basically, that's what happened in this video. Hope y'all liked it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Give me the 7 subscribers by the end of January, and I'm out. Peace.